6:03, and right now authorities are still looking for information about a deadly shooting at a birthday party in Denver 8 months ago. They're also increasing the reward for anyone that comes forward. It happened on North Orleans Court just west of Piccadilly Road on February 4th. Police say that 6 people were shot. 2 of them died. 19-year-old Omar Enriquez Magdaleno and 17-year-old Giovanni Heredia. Investigators say that a group of people showed up to the party uninvited. There was a confrontation and then gunfire. Crime Stoppers is now offering up to $4,000 for information in the shooting. And if you have any information, you are asked to give them a call. That number is 720-913-7867. It's also listed for you at the bottom of your screen.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office is looking for a group of armed men after a deadly shooting late last night. Deputies say it happened at the Ivy Crossing apartment complex off of Quebec Street near James Bible Park. Once there, they found one man shot and about 50 people standing outside. The victim was taken to a hospital where he later died. Investigators say they're now looking for a group of 4 armed men who got away. Deputies believe this was an isolated incident.
A judge has thrown out a lawsuit that Denver Public Schools parent filed against the district after they wouldn't put up, quote, straight flags. This guy, Nathan Feldman, said that his 3rd graders had their constitutional rights violated by seeing pride flags in school. The court ruled that the flags were protected government speech, pointed to a school board resolution backing school displays supporting LGBTQ+ students as part of the district's curriculum. The court also ruled Feldman could not prove that seeing pride flags harmed his kids beyond, quote, exposure to a message that does not represent their views.
Special counsel Jack Smith has released a filing detailing never-before-seen evidence against Donald Trump in his federal election interference case.
Now, that's right. The 165-page brief lays out new details of Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Prosecutors argued in the filing that former President Donald Trump was, quote, fundamentally acting as a private candidate for office and not as president of the United States. The filing is a response to the Supreme Court ruling that Trump had immunity for some actions he took as president and that prosecutors could not use his official acts in their case. Smith's team also argues in the filing that Trump, quote, resorted to crimes to try to stay in office after his loss.
Right now, about 4,000 people, businesses and local governments want Xcel Energy to pay for the Marshall Fire. A judge is trying to wrangle the majority of those claims into 2 trials. Earlier this week, a judge in Boulder County ruled that one trial will be held to decide whether Xcel should be on the hook for starting the Marshall Fire and resulting property damage. Xcel has repeatedly denied responsibility, yet investigators say an Xcel power line was the most likely source for starting one of the fire's 2 ignition points. If Xcel is found liable in that first trial, all of the damages will be decided in a second trial. The judge says everyone who's in on these trials, unless they can provide their case, should be tried separately.
The wildfire that killed at least 102 people on Maui last year started from an earlier brush fire that firefighters believe they had out. Investigators made this announcement this week as they presented their findings on the cause. The wildfire destroyed the historic town of Lahaina. Several agencies have investigated the fire, detailing how hurricane-force winds and emergency response missteps contributed to this outcome. But so far, those reports have stopped just short of analyzing the fire's origin and cause, leaving that to the Maui Fire Department and ATF.
An unexploded World War II U.S. bomb, which had been buried at an airport in Japan, exploded on Wednesday, creating a sizable crater on the runway. According to Japanese officials, the event caused the cancellation of more than 80 flights. There were no injuries reported. The device was a 500-pound bomb, and authorities are investigating what may have triggered its explosion.
It's another day in the port strike that's halting the flow of many U.S. imports and exports. So far, there is no word of progress between the union and the organization that represents the shipping companies. The roughly 50,000 striking members of the International Longshoremen's Association are vowing to picket all day and all night until their ultimatums are met. Until a deal is reached, the transfer of goods along the East and Gulf coasts will be stalled.
Today, President Joe Biden is expected to travel to Florida and Georgia to survey storm damage caused by Hurricane Helene. Biden will make stops in Tallahassee and Perry, where he will also take an aerial tour of the devastation. The president will then head to Georgia in the afternoon to meet with officials and discuss recovery efforts. This comes after Biden approved additional federal funding for the state.
XL is sending 40 of its employees from Colorado to help in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Crews are headed to Georgia to help restore power. Vice President Kamala Harris toured damage and met with families in that state yesterday. She went to Augusta, which got about 4 months worth of rain in just 2 days. At least 179 people in 6 states have now died from that storm. Hundreds more remain missing still as of this morning.
Members of Colorado Task Force 1 are taking part in wide area search efforts in McDowell County, North Carolina. The team is working in places where there is significant destruction. West Metro Fire says the team got another activation order from FEMA to deploy a second specialized human remains detection canine to North Carolina. The dog and its handler will stage in Charlotte.
Record high temperatures for early October and dry weather has fire danger looking more like the middle of summer than fall. And new this morning in Summit County, the sheriff is asking people to be careful with sparks and fires given the dangerous conditions. Our man in the mountains, Matt Renew, joins us now from Summit County. Matt, we should be talking about snow at the ski areas, but instead we're talking about fire danger and it being on the rise.
We are, Jordan, and it is good morning. You know, fall typically brings a second surge of fire danger to Colorado and the mountains, but this year it's going longer than usual with rising fire danger into October when we should be talking about snow. You can see all the signs. It might be fall and early October, but fire danger is still high in the mountains around Summit County. It's been a spectacular turning of colors in the mountains. Some say the best in years, but all that gray color also means that vegetation is very dry.
All of the fuel, what we call the fuels, start drying out.
And this year, warmer than normal. And that has firefighters and the Summit County Sheriff's Office on alert, worried about the rising fire danger, warning people to be as careful now as they would in the summer.
You should be hyper vigilant right now.
In fact, there was a recent fire north of Silverthorne, small one, and they put it out fast, but that was thanks in part to the Sheriff's Department using a small drone to find that fire quickly, which got firefighters to it a lot faster.
Boots on the ground couldn't locate the fire, and we were able to get one of our drones up in the air prior to any federal assets coming to put that fire out, state or federal assets, and we were able to actually locate it with the drone, and the drone was what able to get the ground crews to the fire quickly.
That fire was put out quickly. It was a small one, luckily, but a good reminder for people who are outdoors to be extremely cautious right now with sparks or fires because of the dry conditions. Reporting from Summit County, I'm Matt Renew, 9 News. Jordan, if these conditions continue, the warm, dry weather much longer, it's very possible that people will see summer fire restrictions put into place, even though it's October.
Well, and unfortunately, Matt, I wish we could tell you that there's moisture in the forecast to help out these efforts, but we're just not seeing that right now. Thank you very much for your reporting. We appreciate it. Let's get a check of that forecast now with meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Chris, unfortunately, we're still seeing those hot, dry temperatures out there.
Yeah, one thing that was a bit of a saving grace in the mountains, we talked about this a lot last month, was the August time period. The end of the monsoon season was very, very beneficial. We got a lot of rain in the high country. That saved us for the moment from some perhaps nastier conditions. But as Matt was just talking about, things have gotten so dry and so warm of late, and been so warm of late, that unfortunately those fire conditions back up again. Right now on the cool side, though, later on today, we'll be getting a cold front moving its way through the northeastern part of Colorado. That will drop those temperatures. We'll only top out in the low 70s in Denver for today. But looking ahead, we go right back up again. And unfortunately, that fire danger will increase for this weekend in particular. The details on that coming up in my full forecast in a couple of minutes. Erica?